All right, we're back.
And we're back. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, no one does that anymore.
The radio voice. Hey, I'm agency guy.
And we're back at the agency guy.
What do you need? That's our specialty.
Well, we're here at B2B Forum, and I'm here with Elton. And Elton, you're my neighbor.
Yes, I am.
And so we're hanging out more here than we do normal. So I think that's a sign. I think it's a calling from God that says we need to hang out more. So we're going to start a ritual. We're going to pick a day a week, and we're just going to hang out.
I like it. I think
there's
it's
so
a great
much
idea.
interaction that should be happening among agencies, because absolutely there are times that we do offer similar services, but I always go back to, and I think other small agencies kind of go back to this idea of like in the 80s, when you watch Voltron, right? It never would have worked together. It would never work. They would never defeated anything as individual units, but it is the coming together that actually causes us to do awesome work.
Well, I think we've seen that. It's definitely a shift with clients and agencies in that there's very few relationships where it's just one agency and just working with the client. There's always specialists that come into play. There's always a thought leader that you can bring in to help in a process. And maybe you help in one situation and you're the support agency in one, and another agency is the support role for you. And I've seen it on even large agencies. Mm-hmm. We see it all the time where somebody's brought in as a specialist.
I think people are just too worried that they're going to lose business because they interact with other people. But I mean, you don't go to the same restaurant every single night.
No.
And the ones you love, you come back to, but then you're not going to eat it the next night. You don't watch the same TV shows over and over and over again. You venture out to other TV shows. And I think agencies can really take some time to consider who their true strategic partners are.
Yeah. Well, I always say that, in business development and working with clients, it's, I always use a dating analogy in the sense, because it's a personal relationship that you're trying to build. And, I said, if I introduce, in a personal life, if I introduce my wife to my best looking, smartest friend, and that immediately makes her want to divorce me, then it's not really him. It's probably me in the first place.
Yeah.
So, if our business relationship is that weak, that simply introducing them to another smart partner who could help everyone's process or be part of our group, then relationship's probably too weak at that point. And I'd rather not be fighting for it every day in the sense of, we're trying to overcome something all the time, be a lot more genuine in the relationship, transparent in the relationship. So.
Your CMO just handed you a global campaign with a short deadline and the request to lead with video. You're given a team of you and, well, you. This campaign is asking for 15 videos that need to create awareness and engagement across multiple online destinations, drive demand and lead gen, and measure performance. Whew, calm down. Everything's gonna be okay. We've got you covered. First things first, we're gonna set you up with Video Marketing Suite, which will allow you to access everything you need from a single online location. And it's made for marketers, so you can easily run your campaign yourself. With just a couple of clicks, your videos are uploaded, automatically optimized to work across all screens and devices. You can distribute to your social channels to reach audiences where they are, and then drive them back to a customized branded video portal using Gallery, which you can create quickly, easily, and in multiple languages. For live events, Brightcove offers an easy-to-use live streaming interface, and after you're done streaming, trim the video and post it on demand for people who missed the event. We'll even help you create interactive elements to optimize video for lead generation. To make sense of all this, our analytics platform tracks a number of statistics in an easy-to-use UI. This data feeds into leading marketing automation platforms. You can see who watched and for how long, and what other content they consumed. Then you know what to create and who it's for. We're Brightcove. We'll help ensure that your video marketing is a success.
Awesome. Well, one of the reasons I really wanted to talk to you today is because you run the BMA group in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And I think local groups are one of the most important aspects of anyone's education, anyone's continued growth as a marketer. Mm-hmm. And the BMA has always been exciting because of the national group and then the local group. What kind of things do you guys do in the BMA, and what makes you excited about working with them?
I think you're right. I think the ability for the BMA, I mean, it's the only marketing association that dedicates itself to the B2B segment. There's a lot of other marketing groups with other specialties. Some cover a number of areas, but I like that it focuses on B2B, and that's what we do, so it lines up really well. But also the fact that you can get some national awareness, national presence, events like a big national conference, much like the conference we're at here, where you bring together thought leaders, speakers, and 1,000 B2B marketers. That you can't create that, but then you can activate that at a local level. So you get to know people on a local level. You see them on a regular basis. They're part of your community. And that's really, for me, that's where value comes into associations and organizations, is being part of the community. The national is fine, and I think those are good. But again, we're all going to leave on tomorrow, and in a week not have the same, B2B buzz that we have now, because we didn't wake up and hear, Drew Davis fire us up, Monday morning. And so you have to, re-energize and reactivate. And so having that local community, that's where, to me, the real value comes into play. And one of the things we've always tried to do, even with our own employees, is find that group that you want to be in. You want to be an ad club? Be an ad club, but be in it and be part of the community. Yeah. And so that's where I think the BMA really adds a lot of value, is because B2B is such it's uniquely different, obviously, than your traditional ad agency or advertising group. You need to be around people that are doing what you're doing and can help you figure that out.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a great way, like you said, to network. And I think people think networking is kind of like an early career thing. I just need to know people because I don't know anybody. But really, the further up the executive chain you get, and especially in ownership, that's when networks are so important. And having those strong lifetime relationships are really where you lean out to. So if you're networking at entry level, consider yourself networking for the rest of your career.
I think it's a never-ending process, much the same way that coming to a conference and learning. I don't think we live in. I'd argue marketing is probably the most the career that's changing the most. We're affected by every aspect of the world that is changing. The globalization that's occurring, the impact of the technology, internet, e-commerce, pick anything that's big, if you will, and it affects everything we do. Not that other industries aren't, but we have to deal with it at a different level. So I think, we've always got to be learning, going to conferences, hearing speakers, reading, consuming all this content we're producing, but also being able to have a network of people that you can reach out to. And whether it's your peer group or I go to networking events that are career fairs. Not at all my peers, but I want to network with new potential employees. Some new person that might be, they may have the next great idea. So I think, I think those two things I don't know why you would ever stop, honestly, wanting to, network and learn, meet new people and hear new ideas.
Yeah. So what's some of the key takeaways you've seen at this event? Because you are the most vicious note taker I've seen. And it's like, and you use a portable device, and it's like, I want to watch him just go crazy with his thumbs. Like, you look like a teenager over here texting.
I do use a keyboard sometimes too, but I sync all my notes back. And so, I've got pages of notes from speakers. And, a couple of things that I thought were, I saw Ann Hanley here a little bit earlier. One of her comments I made note of was that you can't CYA your way through your day.
Yeah. And
we see that a lot. We still see that. I mean, I was on the corporate side for years as well. And it's, in this living in this idea of, I don't want to say fear, but apprehension, and making sure that we've covered ourselves. We see that as well, where we have to get consensus with everybody. And so now we have 6 people involved and we all agree, but then when it goes wrong, nobody's really responsible for it. So it's not that there's finger pointing, it's just nobody wants to say, yeah, I'll take that. And so
in a town like Boston, right, where men put their names on a piece of paper and said,
Yeah.
I'm owning it. I didn't
Right.
have to. So John Hancock
Right.
already took up the most space.
I'm going to
I
take
could
it
just
up.
leave that one alone, but
Yeah.
they did, right? And yeah, you see that in organizations. You turn around and you're like, where'd everybody go?
Yeah.
You know? And those who buck up, yeah, they usually take the most pain, but they're the ones that, you know, you don't want to see in 10 years in your career whenever you're looking for a job, and they're the ones that you're hiring.
Today, real time is the only time that counts. To stay relevant, you have to stay ahead. Your customers want the right information, right now, wherever they are. So, how do you meet the demands of today's customers? By marketing in context. Context accounts for a customer's interaction with your brand. So each touch builds on the next, creating more meaningful experiences for your customers. At Sitecore, we call this context marketing. To do it well, you need marketing technology that has three things: contextual intelligence, content management, and omni-channel automation. Contextual intelligence gives you the information you need about your consumers, so the content you manage is more relevant and is automatically delivered wherever your customers are. The Sitecore Experience platform was built for context marketing, so you can create a more personalized customer experience. Demand more from your marketing technology. Demand more from marketing. Own the experience. Sitecore.
I've heard a couple of different speakers talk about this idea of, I think it was Drew Davis talked about the idea of slicing a pizza up, and he was behind a person, do you want the pizza cut in 8 slices or 10 slices? And she said, no, 8. There's no way I can eat 10. Kind of pause, yeah. Well, and so that's really what the marketing pie has become as well, and we keep slicing it up into more and more things, but we're trying to figure out, well, what slice makes the most sense. And, I just wrote a blog post about this idea of, and I've heard other people say it, that, today is the slowest day you're going to have. If it seems overwhelming, there's more tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there's something new next week, and there's another new platform, and there's this idea, and sales disruption and consolidation, and, on and on and on. And so the idea that it's, we're going to get caught up or it's somehow going to get slower really isn't realistic.
Yeah.
And so, how do we really, evaluate what is more effective, more efficient, and not just say, oh, well, that's new. Let's take another slice of pie and put it in there. Really focus on certain things. And heard people, again, Joe Polizzi, he's done pretty well for himself. He's built up a, pretty amazing organization. And focusing on, own a channel for a while, really figure that out and get that channel, whether it's a podcast, a magazine, trade show, but own that, serve, really work for your audience again. I think we've heard that. I think we all have to take that back and really apply that focus on making sure that the content we do produce, in whatever form it is something that our customers, our clients' customers want to consume. And it's not just more noise, because there's plenty of noise.
Yeah, and I think it's like we're all wanting to be musicians, but nobody's learning how to read music, right?
That's
Nobody's
a great way to
play an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go back and if you haven't read Epic Content Marketing or Content Inc., then you're probably missing the principles that say all of us who have had successful content marketing adventures in our life started it without an idea of how we were going to sell to that person. We just had a desire to do it, right? We had a desire to help somebody with something.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of that grew an audience, and out of that grew the compensation, the revenue models, and those people. But that never died was the love and the passion for those audiences.
Mm-hmm.
And people try to flip the script, and that's why they don't have a documented strategy. Documented strategy is important when you don't start from the ground up with a passion, because you ask Gary Vaynerchuk why he does what he does, and he'll tell you because it's documented in who he is, and it comes out in that strategy. But those who don't, who work for people who are trying to do things, that if that's not who you are, then there's some times you need to really check yourself and say, can you really help this company do what they are
Right.
trying to do, or is it time to go somewhere else where you are passionate about?
Well, that's just it. You're passionate about what you believe in. You care about it. You don't. And you mentioned BMA earlier. That's one of those things where at a local level you get a lot of passion. You do it at a national level too, but you're talking to people who are in that industry with you, and so they face similar struggles. There is a sense of not just community, but there's a passion for I want to make my craft better. You get what I'm going through, and so that certainly is there. And I think that's what comes out of the successful situations that you mentioned is there's a passion that drives it. You can write down all this other stuff and core values and mission statements. You don't have to tell, Gary or Joe or you what the passion is or the mission statement. You just inherently know what it is.
Yeah. So, well, we need to wrap this up because they're going to start vacuuming next to us.
Yeah, that's they turn the lights on or
we
you're
have
vacuuming.
the worst luck with audio today, but I want to thank you for your time, and I can't wait till we get back. And then when I do get back, let's do another podcast.
Let's do it.
Well, go out in the middle of Kansas City and
set up in the river
sit on
market.
a
We'll
bench,
do it
yeah.
and on a bench. We'll do it on the streetcar.
Yeah, that would be fun. Well, somebody else is already doing that, right?
Oh,
The Streetcar Confessions. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time.